need to build that foundation. You can't just, start here. You got to start here and build yourself up. Ooh. Okay, let's just do that. Today I'm going to talk to you about how to do riffs and runs and what to do if your runs and are not coming out nicely, they're not coming out smooth, they're not as polished as you would like them to be. So you're doing your riffs and runs and you're like, oh, it's all messy, it's all over the place. Why doesn't it fall nicely? Why doesn't it sound as detailed and as fresh as, this person or that person? A lot of you, I noticed, think you can run before you can walk. So you'll say things like, why can't I get this? Or why isn't this working out? And so on. And what you guys need to understand is that it's not something that's instant. It's something that's gonna take time, and it's a muscle that you're working on. So if you haven't already, if you're really a beginner and you're just trying to learn how to riff, go check out my video. I'm gonna link it in the description below. It's one of the first videos I ever made about riffing when I started teaching riffs and runs. So go check that out. I teach you how to riff, how to develop the muscle, and I'll link a few videos on how to riff. But this video is really yes, how to riff, but it's mostly what to do when your riffs aren't sounding good. So let's learn to walk before we can run, right? So if you're singing a riff and it sounds like, for example, okay, I'm trying to think of anything. Okay, let's just do that. Okay, simple riff. What you need to do, okay, the reason why it might not sound good is because, one of the reasons why is that most probably there's a note in there that's off, okay? So yes, there's a technique to riffing. You're using a small little part of your vocal cord, you're working with your breath as well, a breath support, but you're also need to make sure that you're on pitch and you're singing the exact note. So if one note is slightly off pitch, your run is going to sound messy, right? So you need to figure out which note is distorting everything. So what you're going to do is you're going to go slowly. So you need to go slowly. So let's say you slow down a little bit, and that note when going fast gets distorted, you need to really, really get, because sometimes we can do riffs or we can sing things without even thinking, right? Because it's ingrained in us. But other notes are not. Therefore, we have to get the muscle memory going and getting it ingrained in our memory. So, you want to get that note perfectly. And if you can also record yourself and listen back. But you got to go really slow and make sure each note is on pitch. And I think there's apps out there. If you don't have the ear necessarily right away, there's apps that you can... There's things you can do to make sure that you can use to make sure that each note is perfect, okay? So then you try to go a little faster. You'll go and let's say you go as fast as you can. Let's say when you went a little bit faster, it was okay because you worked on it, then you go a little bit faster. But if not, then backtrack a little bit and try to go slowly until you get every note perfectly, and then you can try and go faster. You see what I'm saying? You need to build that foundation. You can't just, start here. You got to start here and build yourself up. So let's say there's a specific note or area that's not working out. Stick to it. So if it's who, let's say the who was flat, okay? Who, so you try to make sure, so you work on it. Who, even stay there, stay on the note that's distorting everything. Who, So now, when you try it again, it's gonna recognize it. And it might not happen right away. Sometimes we even need to listen to the riff over and over before it can even sink in. So when you try again, it might not sound perfect because it's a process, but it'll sound much better than when you first started.